Hello, this is Wmpyr. In this video, I want to talk to you about one of the most important things that I want to share with you guys on my YouTube channel. There's basically three super important things that I would like for people to get out of my YouTube channel. Um, and this is one of them. So the first one is the realistic self-defense. The second one is the O2 trainer. And then number three is this, which is the ancient way of moving your body. Okay. So I'm going to try to put this as short as possible. You guys know that my method of martial arts training really is cross training, right? So when you cross train, you dabble in a whole bunch of different styles. So mine included ancient styles as well as modern styles. I did both, and I've been doing it for 35 years in the martial arts. Now, for a couple of years now, I was living with severe chronic hip pain. Okay. Now, if you had known me in person, you never would have known it. And you would have thought that, wow, this guy for his age is pretty fit. And, we could go hiking or we could go play sports or do whatever. And I'm going to look like I'm fine. But the reality was my hip was on fire. It was in severe pain. And for example, if I spent a day going to somewhere like a zoo or a museum, and when I came back and just getting back into the car, it was so painful. It would be unbelievably painful. I would dread just getting into the car because of the pain. So I was living with that for a couple of years, and it's just been normal. And I was thinking to myself that at some point this might get so bad that something's just going to break. So that was in the back of my mind, but I really didn't do anything about it, and I kind of didn't know what to do. Okay, that's kind of a lie. I was exercising for it to try to ease the pain, but nothing was working. I was doing specific exercises. So I talked to my buddies over in Japan, and one of them is a martial arts instructor in ancient martial arts styles. And we, all three of us are a little bit knowledgeable. Well, the two of us are a little bit knowledgeable, and that guy's mega knowledgeable about that kind of stuff. And we were talking about all that, and got to the point where maybe I need to switch. So my conclusion was switching to ancient style of movement, right? Because up until then, I've been doing both. I've been doing ancient and modern, right? So then I was like, no, I'm just going to do only ancient type of movement. And the hip pain is gone now. Okay. So really, to me, that's amazing. This chronic pain is now gone. So I want to share this with you. I don't want to go into more detail about, specifics and what you call it, the training and all that. I want to explain to you now how you can start doing this ancient style of movement. And it begins with old people walked differently than the people of today. Okay, that's one of the major points. And how did they walk? Okay, so the walking, running, it's connected. And then now with martial arts, the techniques and the combat, the way you move your body, that's all connected too. But we start with the walk. Okay, so the main idea is what I want you guys to do and understand is that when you walk, people today, we use a twist. So what that means is when your right leg moves forward, so does your left arm. So that's two opposites on the up and the bottom of your body, that causes a twist here in your abdomen region. Okay, so that also links to if you're running, because you're running the same way. This is gonna get your abdomen's gonna get shredded. You're gonna get a six pack. So that kind of makes sense to me. Why uh, running like a boxer, constantly running, is going to help with the six pack development, which you need to shield, and protect your organs, right? Um, so the ancient way doesn't do that. So you're like, oh man, I want the six pack. Well, I'm sure, but you don't want chronic hip pain. So the ancient way of moving is not opposites together, it's same side together. So when your right leg moves, your right arm also goes forward. So you're doing this. So you're kind of like walking like Frankenstein, and or Frankenstein's monster. And that may seem very awkward and weird, but you start with that. Start with that. And then you'll get to the point where you could run that way. But before running, like I said, you start with a walking exaggerated, okay? Because it is counterintuitive, it is weird, and all that. But um, you got to practice, and I've had to practice, and I practiced every time I walked, every time I'm moving, just constantly practiced, and now it's getting to the point where I'm getting much better at it. And like I said, the hip pain is gone. So to me, this is amazing. This is amazing. The modern way of movement is basically muscle based. It's using muscle, and when you use muscle like that, it's awesome and it has a lot of power, but it also burns a lot of calories. So you have to eat to sustain those muscles. You have to work out to sustain those muscles. That's not normal. And then also, how long can you do that? Look at an athlete's life. It's not their whole life. They can only be at that high level for only a short amount of time. But during that short amount of time, you're going to have tremendous power. But once again, what is the cost of that? And if you're going to end up in like chronic pain, to me, it's not worth it. So the ancient method may not be as explosive, or you could, run as fast, sprint as fast, or be like an Olympic athlete. Most of us can't anyway, but you'll be able to do it lifelong, and it is a much healthier way to do things. Okay. So, in Filipino martial arts, the way that I learned, when you're striking with the sticks, and that translates to the blade, that translates to empty hand, that method is ancient way of moving the body. So luckily I've been doing that to this day, right? So that's definitely been there. So in some ways this is not new to me, right? But when it came to Muay Thai kickboxing, back when I learned it, the way my coach, he taught it to me, that was old school. So that was the ancient way of moving the body, the way I was kicking and stuff. He taught it to me the ancient way. But it's not like I've been training with him for, my all this time. No. So that was a short period of time at the beginning of my martial arts journey. So after that, I just really liked Muay Thai kickboxing. So I just kept training that on my own, and I thought it was my duty to research and improve my skills. So I was looking at modern kickboxing techniques, and that transformed my boxing and my kickboxing to modern ways of movement, because the guys that are doing it today, like MMA fighters and Muay Thai kickboxers of today, they are modern day athletes. So the way that they're moving their body is based off of muscular. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So that was a huge mistake for me, and because I started doing that, I was doing a lot of that in my training as well, and that combined with the way that I walk, the way that I run, and I do running and working out like that, um, like 5 days a week. So that all added up, tremendous pain in my hip. But like I said, now that I've changed that, I've changed the way that I would fight. I changed the way that I'm working out. I've changed the way that I walk, and it is all based off of when the right leg goes forward. It's not the right arm. It's a right shoulder. Okay, the right leg, but that's more subtle in movement. So in the beginning, you guys exaggerate, okay? And now we could go into even more detail because I had learned some of this. I told you, I had done the ancient way and the modern way my whole martial arts career. So in Ross, which is a Russian martial art relative to, related to Sistema, okay, both of those, they teach you how to walk, how to run, and once again, it is skeletal based rather than muscle based. And one of the ways they explained it to me was, if you are a soldier, you got backpacks and stuff on, and you're doing long marches, long trips, and if you're using muscular, you're going to get hungrier faster. You're going to get tired quicker. You're not going to be able to last long, and you're going to be in pain. So they were recommending, but if you move with using more of your muscle, your skeletal structure, because that's how you move anyway, they were saying that if you do that, it's much more efficient. And they broke it down all the way to like how you plant your feet and you rotate the force off your knee, and all this. And anyway, so it's all there. It is available, this knowledge, okay? And then I could try to get into it more for you guys, but I don't want to make this video like 2 hours long. But the main point is, start by exaggerating your walk and do the same side rather than the opposite side, and start with the hands. Okay, so right leg moves as you step with the right leg. It shouldn't be that should be your natural tendency, is your left arm goes out. Okay, so do the opposite, and which means same side. So when the right leg goes forward, your right hand goes forward. And I know it's going to make you walk like a robot, but that's okay. Just exaggerate to learn it, and see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to be 50 years old this year, and I'm doing it now, and the pain has gone away, and I will keep doing this. If you guys start at a much earlier age, you're going to save your body that much more. You're more advanced than me if you start this stuff earlier. So yeah, because we got to take care of our bodies, and we're only getting older. So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.